Hey there, I'm Nige from Pure Coys. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. Please like, please subscribe. It means the world. Let's talk Tottenham. And today's topic is, has Ange got what he wanted in this transfer window? Please feel free to let me know what you think in the comments. And I'm going to go through what I think now. I know Ange has come out and said every single transfer that comes through the door, he has the last say on or he signs off. I know that he said he is happy with the window, but for me, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure with the signings we've made whether we are pushing that needle, whether we are challenging for the top four, whether even we are becoming the best of the rest. And for me, we're never going to be challenging the likes of Manchester City and Arsenal at this current time. We would have had to go out and buy 4, 5 players that drop straight into the first team and really move us forward to do that. And I don't think we were ever going to do that. And that's okay. What I did expect is for us to go out and buy 2 or 3 players that jump straight and drop straight into that first team. That little sprinkle of gold dust to become the best of the rest, to make that 4th place our own, to maybe even challenge Liverpool. And then for the following season, for us to move on and again sprinkle 2 or 3 more into the squad or into the team to push us to maybe then challenge the likes of City and Arsenal. But for me, this window has not moved us forward at all. In fact, without sounding negative, and I know a lot of people will call me negative for this, and I don't think I'm being negative. I think in my own head, it's just how I feel. I love this club. I want us to win trophies. I want us to win the league. I don't think we're anywhere near winning the league, but I do think we could win trophies. Cups are always up for grabs, and if we get lucky, and if we've got a full squad to choose from, there's no reason why we can't win a cup. But for me, the players that we brought in and the players that have left means for me that we are weaker so far than last season. And that must sound crazy. I know. Even saying it sounds absolutely nuts. Maybe I'm deluded. I just feel that we are slightly weaker. And I'll explain my rationale for that. So I'll go through the players that we brought in and I'll start with Solanke. Okay, it's fine. 65 million, hell of a lot of money. I understand. Um, that Liverpool had to get some of that money up front as well for a sell-on clause. So Bournemouth wanted to get as much as they can because obviously they were giving Liverpool 20% of whatever they made. So I kind of understand the 65 million. Is he worth it? I don't think so. Will he score goals for Spurs? 100%. Is he better than Richarlison? I don't know. Maybe slightly. Maybe slightly. I'm not a Richarlison fan, but what you have got to remember is he is Brazil's number 9. And Solanke isn't even England's number 5. But if we're looking at recent records, Solanke scored 19 goals last season. You'd say he was better. Of course, Richarlison scored 11, probably didn't play as many games as Solanke, but by the by, I think they're pretty similar, is what I'm saying. I think maybe Solanke's a little better. The one good thing about Richarlison is that if he is staying, is that maybe they will push each other. Maybe they will bring the best out of each other. Um, Having competition and equal competition may be good in the forward areas for Spurs. And then we go to the young players that we brought in. I'm not going to say kids because I think that's being disrespectful um, to them, but they are young players. Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, the kid Yang, is it, who plays on the wing? I just called him a kid. I'm sorry, the young player Yang that plays on the wing, and Odegaard, who's come from Burnley, very highly rated winger. But again, who a week ago none of us had really ever heard of. So there's 4 young players there. and they're all equally exciting, for the future. I look at them and I'm like, yeah, a year or two, they are going to be pushing Spurs first teamers for places. Um, Maybe Bergval will push on this season. I think he's the one player out of the four that I look at and I'm like, he looks comfortable on the ball. He always shows for it. He's not scared to get it in tight positions. And I think he looks like someone who could become a really good player for Tottenham. And you got to remember, Barcelona really wanted him. So for me, Bergval's the one. He excites me. Gray, no Premier League experience whatsoever. He's had a season championship. I've got a few Leeds friends who are season ticket holders, and they have said some games he's looked really good, other games he's gone missing. And you're going to get that with young players. Young players will have good games, they will have losses in form, they will have bad games. It's all part of their development. And this is where I am. Development. Odegaard will have good games, he will have bad games because he's developing. The young Korean that we bought on the wing that comes in January, he will have to have a time of where he adapts to England, to Premier League football. He's not going to come straight in and hit the ground running. I know Sonny did to an extent. He didn't have the best first season, but I know he come in and did okay. But he was a little older and he'd played European football. Then I look at the players that we've let go, and this is just the last month or so. So I'm talking about midfield and defence. So don't laugh. We let Emerson Royale go, which he had to go because he's not good enough. Listen, so many of us love him because he's a bit of a cult hero because he was so bad he was good, if that makes sense. He did some just hilarious things, and no look pass. He had some skill about him. And defensively, he wasn't horrific. Going forward, he wasn't the best, but defensively, he wasn't the worst defender in the world. But he had to go. Have we replaced him? No, I don't think we've replaced him. Who have we replaced him with? And granted, there are 9 days left at the window, and we could replace him yet. But I'm seeing links with 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, no experience. So we sell Royal, who's got close to 100 games for Spurs in the Premier League, close to 100 games, and we've not replaced him. Jed Spence has come back from loan, and he is Royal's replacement, effectively. And what we got to remember is that if Genoa had offered the money Spurs wanted, Spence wouldn't even be here now. Tottenham didn't really want Spence, but he's here, and he is Royal's replacement. Again, limited Premier League experience, but you know what? He looks good going forward, to be fair. So, again, it's another young player. And then we look into the midfield. And again, I caveat this by saying these two players had to leave Spurs because they either wasn't good enough or they wasn't suited to Ange's style of play. And what we have to remember with both of these players that both of them Mourinho loved. And this is one of the best managers in world football. Regardless of what you think of him, one of the best managers in world football. Højbjerg was a staple of Jose. He played nearly every game. And he played well. He was a good, solid midfielder. Over 80 caps for Denmark. 318 Premier League games for both Spurs and Southampton. And then Skippy, 77 Premier League games for Spurs. And I do remember Jose saying, and listen, this might have been tongue in cheek, he did say Skippy would be a future Spurs captain. Now, listen, they both had to go. Skippy was fifth or sixth choice, dropped right down the pecking order, wasn't really good enough anymore. Not in the way we want to play. If we still had Jose here, if we still had Conte here, he might have done a job. But as it is, he had to go. Same with Højbjerg. I think he'd had his time at Spurs. It was time to move him on. What I'm getting at is s just in those 2 players alone, nearly 400 Premier League games between them, and we've replaced them with Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall, who have no Premier League experience whatsoever. They're young players. They're gonna have good games, they're gonna have bad games, and we are expecting them to drop straight into this squad and perform week in, week out, which they are not gonna do. I'm sorry. They are not gonna have fantastic. You're not gonna get 37 games now from Archie Gray in the middle of the park being brilliant every game. The same with Bergvall. They are gonna have to be used sparingly, dropped in when they can, and hopefully build their confidence and become Premier League players slowly because they are developing. So we have let 2 Premier League experienced players leave, one of them who has over 80 caps for Denmark, and we've replaced them with no Premier League experience. Sure, exciting young talents, but we are expecting so much from these young players. And I worry for them. I really do. I worry for them because if they come into the team and they don't perform, which sometimes they're not going to, then that's going to put a lot of pressure on Spurs. It's going to put a lot of pressure on them. And more than that, it's going to put a hell of a lot of pressure on Ange because Ange has come out and said this season, second season, he wins stuff. So I think that's where I am. I'm just really concerned that we've let a lot of experience go and we've not replaced it. But we will see. I guess we will see. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm not for 1 minute saying we should have kept Højbjerg, Skip, or Royal, by the way. They had to go because they had done their time at Spurs. My concern is that we haven't replaced them with experience. And sure, there's 9 days of the window to go, but it is only 9 days. And the links I'm seeing, apparently Gomez is not coming to Spurs. We have no interest in him. And the links I'm seeing are with a young player from Middlesbrough, a young French fullback who plays in the French league. I don't know whether he's French, but he plays in the French league, and a young goalkeeper. Again, please, we need some experience in this team. We really do. More than anything, just for the youngsters. You know, imagine if we went out and we bought a Golcarez, or not Golcarez. We bought, I don't know, let's just some experience. Someone experienced who's played over 300 games in the German league or in the Spanish league. And they come in. Well, let's say a Locatelli. Let's say we went out and we bought a Locatelli who's played for a lot of years in Serie A with Milan and with Juve, and he comes in and these kids can learn off him. That for me would be brilliant. That for me would be perfect. I'm concerned that we've let a lot of experience go and we haven't replaced them with experience. We brought in young kids and we're expecting a lot from them. Anyway, that's it from me. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm concerned, but I'm hopeful. If if these young players can come in and hit the ground running and have more good games than bad games, fine. But I do think we're putting a lot of pressure on them. And I think 1 or 2 experienced heads, they don't need to have won World Cups or Premier Leagues, but just to have been there and done it in the highest leagues that the young players could learn off, that would be fantastic for me. But again, let me know in the comments what you think. There's 9 days of the window to go. Are we going to sign anyone else? Is this it for Spurs? And are these young players, are they going to be good enough to see us through the season? Thank you for joining me. I will see you on the next video. And come on, you Spurs.